Many constituents in the city of Charleston's District 10 had doubts about Harry Griffin, his young age and no political experience, but he won them over after beating out Summer Massey in the District 10 runoff last week. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I sit down with Harry one-on-one. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Harry, congratulations to you.
Thank you, Quintin. It feels good to interview with you not as a candidate this time.
Council member-elect.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 2 months from the 23rd.
Right.
January 23rd, you get to take that oath.
Yes.
Start this journey. I'm excited.
And let me talk to you about the journey. 446 to 347. ABCNews4.com reports this, quote, Griffin defeated Massey 446 to 347 with more than 56% of the vote. Once he's sworn in, Griffin will replace Dean Regal, who peeled in only 17% of the votes in the general election November 7th, unquote. The last time I interviewed you, you basically said this was a relevance issue. When I actually moderated a debate at West Ashland High School between you and Summer Massey, you basically said, hey, this is about overdevelopment. What was this runoff about?
Well, we talked about this the last interview that we did. Going into the runoff, I said, Dean's votes are going to be crucial. And that definitely proved itself. Summer and I had to work to get an understanding of what Dean's 17%, what they really stood behind. And for me, speaking to them, Dean did well in areas like Hickory Farms, Bridge Point, areas where he was able to help work towards getting them some FEMA funding to buy up their homes, or in Hickory Farms, push for the moratorium. And so, meeting with these people, I think it was the same issues in the regular election of overdevelopment, but in that 2-week period for the runoff,
right,
Summer and I had an opportunity to kind of expand on our viewpoints of how we were going to fix the problem. So I continued to kind of talk about the areas of the flooding, how I want to partner with CSX, I want to get with SE&G, I want to develop a access point down to the basin, so we can get our operational vehicles down there. We talked about that in the drainage meeting, that it was difficult to get operational vehicles to the basin at this point. So that was a good thing to talk about. We did our debate right before the drainage recommendations came out. So we had a good crowd. Everybody there was very interested. But with this $44 million price tag, that is going to be a very necessary step in the near future. I'm working on studying and analyzing our 2018 budget to see how much money is going to come back to District 10, is going to come back to the $44 million price tag, how much the city is willing to put towards that. Because while we have a moratorium in place, it was just extended for 6 months, we have to act. We can't just keep throwing a moratorium, basically sticking a piece of gum in a hole. It's not going to last forever. We can't just keep pushing moratorium. We have to take advantage of our pause in development. And in that pause, we need to act. So we need to find out, with the budget, how much of that money for 2018 is going to prioritize to fix this problem.
Matter of fact, you told ABCNews4.com this, quote, $44 million is a lot of money, but the city has to fit that need first. West Ashley has been an afterthought for too long. It's time that District 10 become a priority. Tell me, who has been following the money all this time? Because you indicated that this city basically failed the community with Church Creek Basin back in 2008.
Well, we allowed building to happen when it wasn't thought out, wasn't planned properly. Back in 2008, when the Long Savannah project began, the contract states, that the Church Creek Basin, the city recognized that it was at or near capacity in 2008, and attached a lot of provisions to build a neighborhood, including, having its own fire station, its own police station, its own elementary and middle school, a city and a county park, all these provisions, a stoplight at Village Green, and the Long Savannah Parkway / Glen McConnell extension. So our city, they understood about, what development was doing to the basin, and that it was at the capacity. But since 2008, we've had Sheveling Plantation, we've had McLaura Bluff, we've had Magnolia Bluff.
Right.
We have all these new developments pop up. You know, we made some mistakes, we have to correct them. The moratorium, it ceases the production, but while we have this cease, we have to act. We've got to work on getting this 44 million. We've got to start chipping away at it now. Mayor Tecklenburg, in the meeting, he mentioned that, you know, it's really a 4-step process on the 44 million. And we need to probably work on some of the smaller price tags first. But for me, I want to see us have a plan for that big price tag, because one part of that plan is $27 million.
Okay.
So we need to have a plan in place, and we can't be reactive. We can't just sit back and expect our federal and state governments to take on the price tag. We as a city have to be proactive in terms of the budget, in terms of how much money and revenue we can create. I don't have a problem with us going out and searching for grants and bonds, but ultimately it's what the constituents want, and they are going to feel a lot better about us taking a proactive approach. And so that's what I mean when I say that we've been an afterthought. We pay big taxes because we have beautiful homes with high property value. And it's time that, you know, you can't just expect all of these beautiful homes to go into a very small land capacity, small, how should I say it? In terms of land in that area, square mileage, you have a lot of homes packed into a very small area. I love my district, but just for example, District 5 encompasses, I think, 130 square miles, and our district only is such a very, very small land area, but we have a lot of homes. It's very dense, but they have good property value, so the taxes they're not cheap.
Right.
But the people, the constituents, they're worried that we're not getting the help that we deserve. And I'm going to have a great discussion with Mayor Tecklenburg, our city council, and also talk with our county council and some of our other state agencies. We have to have a plan where we encompass all of this, but we have to feel like District 10 is a priority, especially if the city is willing to hire firms to study our area, then put the money behind it to implement the recommendations as well.
The constituents. You said this to Channel 4, this quote, "The only people that have my ears is my constituents." And that's what you also told me at the debate.
Right.
So what should people be listening to when they come to you as far as city council?
Well, the first thing that they need to know is that their city councilman has, you know, their quality of life number one.
Okay.
But they also have to feel like that, you know, with city council, and this is the reason why I ran for this job. We talked about this the first time I sat in this chair next to you.
Right.
Is that when you are on city council, you have a direct impact on the lives of your neighbors. And I think that's very, very important. It's an honor, but it's a very high responsibility. And I tell all of my constituents, and throughout this whole process, is have high expectations from me. But you should be able to knock on my door night or day. You should be able to call my phone night or day. And we need to be able to have candid conversation about, you know, what the problem is, what can I do to fix it. If you have let's just say for an example, you have a tree and a city-owned ditch behind your home and it's fallen on your house, then your expectation should be to call me and say, "Harry, I've got this tree that the city owns this property. I need this tree cleared before it falls on my home." I should be able to help you produce some results there, because, you know, that's going to be part of being a city official is understanding your department.
Sure.
And I should be able to get with our stormwater operations superintendent and get somebody out there to work on that, because that's what my people should expect, and those are the results that they deserve. And that's, you know, the kind of service that I want my people to see. I want them to know that we're going to be having a breakfast probably twice a month going forward. I'm going to try to find some good local businesses like the Mason Jar, Sunflower Cafe.
Right.
Somewhere very close within the district, we can get some commerce to our local restaurants on a Saturday morning, but also give our constituents an opportunity to sit down and have a good, candid discussion about what we need to do. And getting that public feedback is a very important concept to me, and a very important aspect of being an official. And our city does that in the council meetings. They have a public opinion or
Right.
public response section, And a lot of people utilize that time to get up in front of Mayor Tecklenburg and tell them how they feel. Now, I want my people to get up and tell me how they feel as well.
Direction. During the West Ashley debate, you actually told me this quote, "Our city decided to take a new direction." So what direction that is should the city take next?
Well, the constituents took the direction that we're not going to give our elected officials a very long leash. You know, we're going to have high expectations. You're not going to sit around for 2 or 3 terms before you get anything done. From the moment you enter office to the moment that you run for re-election, you know, we expect the results to happen. So now our city is tasked with a very different council, with 3 incumbents who have lost and being replaced. So that changes the dynamic a little bit. We all have specific needs, and you know, the needs of James Island, the needs of downtown, the needs of West Ashley are going to be different. I think that there's an expectation that these different regions of Charleston kind of work together a little bit. You know, that maybe I'll work with Kevin Sheely or Marvin Wagner,
Right.
because they're my neighboring
Right.
districts, and some of our needs are the same. And yeah, that's definitely going to happen. But ultimately, like I said, you put your constituents' quality of life first. You fight for your area, and you know the way that I think that I would really like to see this happen is, I want our district and my region to be on the agenda every single meeting, every single council meeting. I want to utilize the discussion section of our city council meetings, where the council members and the mayor have open, public, candid discussion about the issues of, you know, District 10. I would like, you know, since our city council meetings are public, they're taped,
Right.
and you have all this interaction with not only the people in the crowd, but within the other council members and the mayor. Let's make sure District 10 is on that agenda often. And I told you that in the debate as
Right.
well, because we have to get that relevancy back. And when you start going to city council meetings and your district isn't brought up at all, then you're not doing your job. So that's something I want to see immediately get fixed. Just that proactive approach, that active voice. It was all over my signs. I wanted to stress that. You know,
Okay.
I want to be a voice for my people, and I want to be a loud but effective voice. I want my other council members to respect me for my ethics and my integrity.
Let me turn to new urbanism. The lowcountrysource.com reports this quote, "At 22, Harry Griffin may become the youngest person to ever serve on Charleston City Council." I think that is, where he is sworn in on January 23rd. He defeated Summer Massey in a November 21st runoff after both candidates received more votes than incumbent Dean Wiegel in the race for City Council District 7 on November 7th. As of the 3 incoming council members who defeated incumbents, Griffin will be a voice speaking out against the concept of new urbanism as the West Ashley Master Plan, that is approved and implemented. What is your definition of new urbanism?
Well, you know, it's kind of loose, you know, right now.
Okay.
It's that article speaks more of. It seems to me like we have this dilemma where we're fighting to prioritize the drainage against the bike lanes, and there seems to be some discussion on what's more important. Can we have both? Do we need to prioritize one over the other? For me, the reason why I'm fighting new urbanism to a certain degree is that I don't want to see our city lose our tradition. I don't want to see our city, you know, become, have these tall skyscraper buildings right up on our sidewalks, and that is a concept of new urbanism. One of the big concepts. I'm not fighting bike lanes here. I know that we can find ways to make both happen.
Okay.
Because we are such a diverse city. We have a diverse amount of constituents.
Sure.
And we have to meet the needs, and they're different, they're specific in different ways. We have to find a way to make Charleston more bikeable, but we cannot lose sight of the drainage crisis either. So being a public official and being on city council is another example where this is an effective thing. Is you have to wear many hats.
Right.
As a city council member, you also work a job. You know, this is not a full-time source of income.
Right.
It was not set up to be that way.
Right.
So if you can work a profession while also being a city councilman, why can't you also be a city councilman who wears many hats and, you know, fights for many different things? I'm a young guy, and I'm very candid. I'm always honest. I think that we can find ways to make Charleston more bikeable, but I don't want to lose sight of our drainage crisis either. We've already gotten the Tiger grant for the bike lane. So we will fight to make sure it happens, but it's got to be effective. It's got to be cost effective, especially because I will not prioritize spending for bike lanes over the families in District 10 who have already lost their homes or in danger of losing their homes. But one thing about new urbanism that I just, you know, we talked about this too, a rule and a vision.
Right.
If the city doesn't put a rule in, then our West Ash Revitalization Master Plan, all these beautiful pictures within the plan, they're just visions. Because if there's not a rule in place, then the buildings may not look like they do in the master plan. We taught the difference between the first draft and the second draft. In the first draft, the buildings were huge. And then in the second draft, they lowered the height on the buildings. But if there's no rule in place, they could very much still be massive.
Sure.
So that's something that we'll look at, and I've already talked to Brantley Moody. I've talked to Marvin Wagner. I've talked to Mayor Tecklenburg. I've talked to Peter Sheehy. You know, understanding their vision on the master plan is important, and I have to do my due diligence to make sure that I understand their wealth of knowledge on this whole commission, because I'm behind I'm a little bit behind on that because I haven't been involved in all the meetings that they have over the past 6 to 8 months. But I'll get back up to speed on that very, very quickly because that's a crucial piece of information moving forward. I've talked about this over and over again. The West Ashley Revitalization Commission, the drainage study and implementation that is winding down. Now we've extended the moratorium, which I said was very important. And we also have a police and a fire chief. All of these things are very crucial for our city, and they cannot be taken lightly in any aspect.
Summer Massey, obviously she lost to you 347. Tell me, what ideas would you use on city council?
Well, I really do like her ideas in terms of mass transit, and I would like to get more information from her on her ideas. She called me after the results came out.
Ben told me.
She was very, very humble, and I told her, I said, I have so much respect for you for calling me because I know it's tough. She worked her tail off. She really did. And she's made a lot of really great connections throughout this whole process. And I told her, I said, Summer, I need you because we have to be a unified district. Right now, because of the fragile state of our district and how important these prioritizing the budget to meet the needs of District 10, if we have a crack in our armor, we might be an afterthought again. So what we have to have in District 10 is a unified front. We need all the pieces to come together, and we need to stand strong. We need to be proud of our district. But I would hope that our entire district will unify behind myself. They will take a look at my work ethic, and over these next few months, they might be skeptical at first. The people that voted for Summer, but I will win their trust, and I hope that they will schedule some sort of time to meet with me, so their voice we can collectively get together and make our voice one unified voice, and hopefully there's a great opportunity, especially when it comes to transportation or traffic, where I can reach out to Summer and say, hey, I'd love to use some of your professional expertise and get your opinion or get you on a committee or something to make District 10 great. And I hope that she would agree to that opportunity if it presented itself. But I know that in this next 4 years there will be a time where I'll have the opportunity to reach out to her for some help, because we have to utilize all of our resources, and we've got some amazing people within the district, and she's one of them. So I hope I get the opportunity to work with her moving forward.
That was good to hear. Well, Councilman-elect Harry Griffin, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this.
Thank you, Quintin. I appreciate it as well.
Anytime.